So that wraps up trading for today. Another kind of slowish day, but not every day is going to be a blow away trading day. And today was one of those not so crazy trading days. We had one stock that was up over 200%, gapping up, big move, but there just wasn't a lot of dollar volume. All the stocks we were looking at were under 30 million in dollar volume. So the dollar value of the amount that is being traded of that stock on the day. And to give a quick little example, on a really big day like we had on Monday and Tuesday, we had a lot of these smaller cap stocks that were trading over 100 million in dollar volume. So 3-4 times as much as what we were seeing today. So yeah, we did have some big percentage gainers, but there just wasn't a lot of shares being traded. Not to mention the stocks we were looking at were near some really big long-term resistance, which made me want to back off a little bit as well. We did 3 trades today like we always want to be doing. 2 are green and 1 is actually still open. It's almost totally closed out, but there's just a little bit left. And I keep moving my limit order to get out of it, and it just kind of keeps going down, which is fine because it's a small part of that trade that's left. So I'm just like, what's going on with you? And that's kind of the problem with trading a stock that just doesn't have that much dollar volume. It's a little bit illiquid sometimes. If you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, especially when it comes to dollar volume, check out this video, because in that video I explain everything that you need to know about dollar volume and how I use it to identify which stocks I want to be trading every single morning. So without further ado, let's go to the charts. And if you know what I'm into, then you've already hit that like button. And if you're new and you want to start learning how to grow your account, consider subscribing. All right, so the market's actually closing soon, about an hour left till the market closes. Today kind of got carried away a little bit in terms of how late it got, because we just had one extra trade open and I sold most of the position. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but it just kind of ran away from us. And I was just kind of, just watching it and kind of doing a little experiment with it. I'll talk about that in a little bit. It was SXTC. So you can see right here under the dollar volume column, we don't have anything really that impressive. I guess you could say OGI is about 50 million in dollar volume. So that's not too bad. But this is already basically the end of the day. So usually opening bell, you would see some stocks, moving up from 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then already being at 100 million dollar volume by the time it's, let's say, 10 o'clock a.m. So big moves, and that's when you know there's big potential for stuff to break out. Most of today we were watching MNI because it was gapping up like crazy in the morning. It was up 286%, and then opening bell it ran another 67%. So all in all, it was up 458% today. Huge runner. We didn't actually trade this one. This was the one we were watching almost the whole time in the live stream. It was really good fun. And we probably should have bought it as it pulled back here to 1.8. I don't know. I didn't feel super comfortable. It kind of reminded me of FLNT from the day before. And also, I didn't really like that it was super overextended. We didn't have a crazy amount of trading volume. And then the biggest thing that was geeking me out was this $2 resistance level right here. And you can see, try to break out of it once, try to break out of it another time. This was, these moves are actually quite big. I mean, this is 13% move right here. And the pullbacks are just really fast. So I never felt super comfortable. And if you just kind of go here to the daily chart, you could see why I didn't really feel comfortable. I mean, this is a continuous downtrend, and now we are gapping up, and then we're right around here at this $2 point. We have the 180-day moving average. We have this huge horizontal former support, new resistance level. So a lot of stuff working against this stock. But then lo and behold, it did actually pull up here, and then the stock got halted, and we watched this on the live stream. It broke out higher from the hold. I think it got halted again somewhere in this area. So there was 2 halts, and this was a 27% move, huge. And from all the way from the bottom, that's a 45+% move. So definitely some potential, but this was the biggest mover of the day. Huge percentage gainer. It just didn't have that dollar volume that we really wanted. Didn't have that volume, and again, I just didn't like the big resistance above. Okay, so let's see what we did today. The first thing we traded was RBZ, and so let's go over to it. And this was kind of an okay little support line bounce. A big support was forming here about 1.75. We cracked below 1.8. We were talking about it a lot in the live stream. It was pulling up nicely. It kind of had a failed breakout here, and it just started pulling back. And I was waiting for a bigger crash before I really wanted to buy this. I knew, based on where a lot of support was previously, this 1.6 to 1.7 to even 1.89 area was just tremendous support. So the question was, how far was it going to go down? A little bit after the live stream, it started really selling off and I got excited, and that's when I went, it got a little bit aggressive. We pulled back. How big was this pullback? This was pretty nice, about 12% pullback. And then I entered right at 1.73, which was just about the near bottom, but I only got a partial execution. And then I moved up my limit order to 1.74, kind of chased it a little bit, and then we got our full execution. That's why my average price is a little bit unusual with this one. Anyway, this was kind of a small bounce though. It went up 4.7% and then pulled back. So we missed this one, and then it sold off again right here. So we were down on this position for a little bit. Let's see, we were down, what, about 3% or something like this. I was really close to potentially getting out of this trade, but then, it was kind of holding in this area and then, bounced up here. I was identified that, this 1.79 area, we had a former top in this area right here, the shoulder to the left. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to, guess and hope that it's going to break past this area. I'm just going to take my little small my small profit, which was really a scratch more than anything else, and just, move on. Also, this was a tiny position size. I think it was just around $600, a little bit more than $600. This was our smallest position size. The next trade we did was SXTC, but I'm going to talk about CETX first because we entered and exited this trade fairly quickly compared to SXTC. So let's go to CETX. These are just weird tickers to say right now. This was a former runner. It's on its second big day. Pre-market, it was gapping up like crazy. Big resistance at 3.5. Let me just scroll in here. You can see on the daily chart right here, there is big support that comes in right around here at 4.5. We eventually crash lower to 3.95. And then this whole area just becomes new resistance. And if you just go a little bit lower, all of these spikes get rejected in these areas. And there's this kind of a new body that starts forming right around here at 3.18. And you can see that is exactly where we opened up today, this morning. And ever since then, we started selling off. So I wanted to be really careful on this one and wait for some major support zones before we entered this trade. So if you guys have been watching this channel or know a little bit about my trading, you will know that I love looking for former breakout zones and former shoulders for entries and exits. And you can tell that right around here is exactly what we have. So if you just scroll a little further, the price is just going down. We have one big dip, a second big dip, a third big dip, and then boom, a fourth big dip. And I'm like, okay, this could be a really good spot. We're at that former breakout zone. We're at that former shoulder. Let's try to get an entry. And let me just zoom in a little bit and show you guys where we got that entry. Right here. And also on the daily chart right here, we're getting really close to this big support zone at $2, $2.15, something like that. So I know that at this area, there's going to be just long-term support. So a lot of people are going to try to enter the trade right around here. This trade was the best one we did. It wasn't, a crazy position size. It was about $900. But what really bothered me about this trade is our entry actually. And I had my limit order ready to go on one of these dips. I missed this first dip. My limit order was at 2.23. It went down to 2.26. And then I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to get that second one. But I was so busy looking at SXTC at the same time, I missed this dip because I removed my limit order because I was thinking, okay, maybe it's going to go to maybe 2.21 or something like that. I missed this dip and it bounces right away at 3%. I'm like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. That was my entry. And I instantly move up my limit order to or create a limit order or something like that to 2.24 or 2.45. And it pulls back, but it doesn't get executed. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I move up my limit order again, and again, and again, and again. And before you know it, this thing goes up 5.3% from the bottom. And I'm still not in it. And I'm just like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. That was like the whole move that I wanted. I was a little annoyed, I'm not gonna lie. And then, it pulls back a little bit. We get a nice entry and then pulls back even further. We're down like 1.5%. I'm just like, I can't believe I'm down on this trade that somehow I was waiting for all day today. So it's kind of one of those days where you just, I don't even want to talk about it. We still ended this trade about like 6% profit, so I'm not going to complain. Anyway, we had a little pullback here, and then we were holding the highs really, really nicely. This breakout took forever to happen. This trade lasted, I don't know, like almost an hour, which for me is like super long. That's like years almost for my trading style. So I was a little impatient watching this one. But yeah, we made kind of a clean 6.5% or something like that. So overall, pretty happy how it went. The reason I got out right here is just because it had a lot of trouble breaking higher. All these breaks to the upside were extremely weak. A lot of selling volume. I just didn't really feel comfortable. So when we kind of hit this former area where we had a breakdown and a bounce, I decided to kind of get out. And that to me was a big shoulder that I wanted to get out at. And that's why I exited there. Now let's talk about SXTC really quickly, kind of wrap things up. This trade really was the longest trade I think I've done in a really long time. So 200. So I was in this trade for 4 hours. That's insane. A lot of my trades, especially the breakout trades, only take, I don't know, 30 seconds, 3 minutes, maybe 7 minutes if it's going really long. So the fact of 4 hours is kind of ridiculous, and it's a bit my fault. At one point we were in 3 different trades at once, and my attention was all over the place. It was really hard for me to watch any one trade and really give my full attention to it. So this thing, huge break to the upside, but pulls off entirely. And I knew something that pulls off that strong, you got to really, really watch out for it, because it's probably going to keep selling off all day. And that's really what happened. We had a nice bounce right here, and again, some big support in this area. And I was thinking, okay, well, this could be a point where it has a nice little reversal. Let me put a limit order down here, see if we can get another entry before it maybe continues moving up a little bit. I don't know, maybe it'll move up to 1.1 or something like that before continuing to sell off again. And the entry we got was all right. It wasn't mind-blowingly good. We were down about 2% at one point, then pulled up, and we were up about 3%. And I was like, okay, I just want a little bit higher of a pop. So I had the limit order right around here at this 1.06 or something like that. And we were up 20-30 bucks at one point, and I was like, okay, this could work. But then it just sells off. The first time it didn't break higher, I was a little disappointed. I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe we're going to get it here. Didn't work. And when this one didn't work, I was like, okay, 2 tries, that's enough. I'm out of this trade. And I sold half of my position here on accident. I wanted to sell all of it, but again, guys, not a lot of dollar volume, 8.6 for the whole day. It's ridiculous. Just not a lot of people are trading this. So I couldn't even with my tiny position size, I was not really able to exit this trade. I mean, I could have forced it for a lower price, and I probably should have done that. I know I was kind of just waiting for another pop back to 1.02, but we never really got that. Mainly because I had half a position left of a tiny position, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna hold it, see what happens. Really, my goal was to sell on any big move to the upside. And so we had this rundown, then we had a second rundown. I was like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. This is why you want to get out of trades right away. I mean, hope is not your friend with trading. And to me, I kind of let my guard down on this one because I just didn't really care about it. You can see here, the P&L is tiny. It was just such a small position, so it didn't really bother me too much. On this bounce, I was pretty excited. I was like, okay, we're probably going to touch this area again. So I had a limit order here at like 0.9957 or something like that, and we missed it by almost nothing. Like maybe 0.001 cent, and we just didn't get this one. It continued selling off again, and then eventually kind of found a bottom here. Again, the reason I was also fairly confident with this trade, it was up on news. It had great news, and the news was it announced regulatory approval on its DNA exam laboratory. I didn't really look into too much of that, but apparently it was enough to make this thing gap up about 50%. So I thought, okay, it couldn't be that bad. And the fact that we had massive support at $1 below. So I was like, okay, buying at a big support level has news. I mean, it should bounce a little bit, but the bounce was just so weak. But I knew maybe around like 9 or something like that, there should be some really, really good support. I don't know. This whole move to the upside right here just took so long, and there was constantly resistance. I eventually just sold all of my position, or the leftover position right here. We probably could have squeezed out another like maybe 2% profit or something like that, but overall, just not really that important. So not a bad day. We had 3 trades, 2 were profitable, and we ended today with just about $50 in profit. So a pretty cool day with a tiny position size. Once we start trading with about $10,000, today would have been more of like a $650 profit day. Lots to look forward to. And you know, it wasn't even that great of a day. Made a lot of mistakes. All right, guys, let's hope we get some bigger volume for tomorrow. It was really good fun having everyone in the live stream today. Let's see what Flying Friday has in store for us. I will see you then. Until then, stay safe and make some awesome trades. Nighty night, guys.